All right, guys, what's going on? Today we're going to cover the basics of foam rolling. There's so many tools out there these days as far as doing, soft tissue work on yourself. If you just kind of go to any sort of website that sells tools, whether it's, Perform Better, etc., there's a bunch of balls. There's countless ways to kind of do some soft tissue work. But today we're going to really start from where the beginning was, and that was just some basic foam rolling that was used in PT clinics a long time ago. So we're going to show you some basic foam rolling techniques and show you how to use the foam roller and just sort of get introduced just to how to use it. Very, very simple stuff. A lot of people already know how to use this, but I think the goal of today is to give people some idea of how the foam roller can help with, loosening up tissue, helping speed up the warm-up process, etc. So that's kind of the goal of today. If you are looking at, if you want to look a little bit more into the research on whether or not foam rolling works, strengthandconditioningresearch.com, and you can just search for foam rolling. They've got a ton of articles, research articles on how it affects acute flexibility, etc. So strengthandconditioningresearch.com, search for foam rolling, and that's a fantastic way to look at that. Another great resource is, I'm going to show you this book. And I know that the screen is backwards, so it's going to seem funky, but this is the Trigger Point Therapy Workbook, okay? This is a fantastic resource, okay? You can buy this on Amazon. It's about 20 bucks, but it'll give you some really good insight on how to start thinking about trigger points. And lastly, honestly, nothing beats the hands of a skilled clinician. So if you can find someone that is a licensed muscular therapist that really understands movement, that can actually do an assessment, that's the way to do it. So again, this is an educational tool, right? If you are a little bit tight from whatever, hop on a foam roller, understand how your body moves, and loosen up a little bit. Guys, it's not a miracle worker, but it is a way to, again, loosen you up. Maybe you had a long flight. Help address some of those tight areas and kind of go from there. I will say this, before we dive in, if you are dealing with some sort of acute injury, let's say you roll your ankle or you pull a muscle or something, you shouldn't be attacking that area. You should be actually allowing it to heal. Let's say you roll your ankle and it blows up like a grapefruit, right? The swelling is there for a reason, okay? It's actually protecting your body. Your nervous system is saying, hey, dude, don't move this area, okay? So that's one of the big reasons why you need to pay attention to what's going on. Just because something's tight doesn't mean you should roll the hell out of it, okay? Another thing to understand is that it's not about how much pain you can sort of put yourself through, okay? It started with foam rollers, right? And then it went into, just back here, we've got a whole bunch of different tools, and I'll show you how to use those. And next thing you know, people have got like DeWalt products, and they're doing soft tissue work with drills and everything else. So guys, at a certain point, spend the money, find a good clinician that can help you out, okay? So, quick thing on pain. Guys, if it hurts, your body is going to basically kick you out of that area. So say you've got a nasty trigger point in your quad, right? And all of a sudden you get in there and it hurts like hell and your heart rate elevates. You start to tighten up that area. Your breathing patterns change. That's not the point. The point is to slowly address the tissue to allow your nervous system to sort of welcome that and then go from there. So it's not about torturing yourself. It's about slowly introducing change, okay? So I'm going to step back and I'm going to start off with some basics. The first thing I'm actually going to start off with is not with the foam roller, it's with the tennis ball. And the reason why we start off with this is we're going to really address the bottom of the foot. You've got thousands and thousands of nerve endings in the bottom of your foot, and those get neglected. A lot of people don't train barefoot, and that's fine. But a lot of the times the bottom of that foot it doesn't get any love. So one of the best things you can do is to get some sort of tennis ball or lacrosse ball and just basically roll the bottom of your foot out. So again, I like to start off with the tennis ball. Why? Because it's softer. It's as simple as that. Search around. You can, roll a little bit more to the arch. You can roll, underneath the toes a little bit. It doesn't really matter, guys. Just play around with it and get acclimated to your hot spots and your tender areas, okay? So start off with, something that is a little bit less harsh and then move on. A lot of people, like, what are they saying? I want to use a lacrosse ball. Well, you know what? That's not always the answer. Sometimes less is more, okay? So again, guys, bottom of the foot, you can spend a minute there. You can spend 2 minutes there. It doesn't make a difference to me. But I always like to start from there. And from there, we're gonna show you guys kind of the different tools. Now, we've got like a legitimate foam roller. Okay, this is the old school foam, hence the foam roller, right? Here we've got a foam roller by Trigger Point Therapy. Again, it's a great tool, does the trick. AccuMobility's got a fantastic product where it's like a combo foam roller. It's really unique, and you can get into some areas that you typically can't get into with a regular foam roller. And last but not least, we've got the Rumble roller. And guys, listen, start with sort of the least harsh thing and move up. If you're using a regular foam roller and you feel like it's not doing anything for you, maybe you're a big, thick guy and you've got a ton of muscle on your legs, and maybe this isn't cutting it, you're gonna need a little extra to get through that tissue and loosen it up. So that's when you move into something maybe like the AccuMobility roller or maybe the Rumble roller, okay? So I'm gonna take you guys through my favorite progression here, okay? So we're gonna sit right on your butt. Now, what I want you guys to understand is that we want to just gently kind of roll the area up. Now, I'm using my hands and my opposite foot to help regulate pressure, okay? If it's too much, use your hands and use your feet to take some of the pressure off, okay? If you need a little bit more, you can stack the foot. It really doesn't make a difference, but use those opposite limbs to help regulate pressure. Now, one of my favorite areas that I like to hit is the lateral part of the quad. I tend to get some nasty trigger points in there for God knows what, but again, outside of the calf is my favorite. And again, I'll spend 30, 40 seconds on each area, but what I want you guys to think about is changing angles. I'm gonna externally rotate at the hip, I'm gonna go straight, I'm gonna internally rotate at the hip. Awesome, right? So you can either go, right side, left side, or you can do all right side, you can do all left side, that's fine. So I like to start off with kind of the lower calf. There's different ways you can get into the anterior tib and stuff, but again, different tools are better. You can use a tiger tail for that. What I've found is if you want to get up into the hamstrings, a regular foam roller is not going to cut it, guys. You really can't get in there. That's why I really love this guy from AccuMobility. It allows you to use that groove and get into the belly of the hamstring. And honestly, for the hammies, this thing's a game changer. And the same thing, guys. You want to externally rotate. You want to kind of change those different angles and find the areas that are hot spots, okay? So you can interchange sort of what foam roller you're using. I like to, well, I own a gym, so I've got a bazillion of these things, but these are the times in the hammy where I really, really like using the AccuMobility products. We're gonna change again. We're gonna move up to the glute. And so here's what I'm gonna do. This is my favorite way to do it. I'm gonna be working, my right side here. I think it's actually reversed on the camera, but the side that I'm rolling out is the side that I'm gonna sort of sit on. So my right butt cheek is down, my left is up. Now I'm gonna take my right heel, put it on, and I'm just gonna roll back and hit that piriformis, hit a lot of those external rotators, okay? And again, we're just gonna kind of change angles. We're gonna search for those hot spots. If you find an area that's, maybe really tender, try to find it, maybe breathe, okay? Now, we're gonna move on to kind of the iliac crest and up in the hip musculature. So when you do that, I like to cross over and then go to the very, very top position. And it's a very, very small area at the top of the hip. You can kind of hit that and the TFL in the front. So you can kind of get here right at the very top. I'm not rolling my IT band. We'll get into that discussion in a second. But what I'm trying to do is just kind of get that little ball on the outside of the hip, okay? That's where everything runs into the IT band. You've got your TFL, glute medius, all that stuff that kind of runs into the IT band and it attaches on the lateral femoral epicondyle down on the knee. So we're just kind of hitting the hot spot, okay, right at the top. If I want to get my TFL, I kind of belly down a little bit and then get the TFL. Now from there, this is the biggie, right? Everyone tells me they have tight IT bands. Not everybody, but I hear this all the time. You don't need to hammer the hell out of your IT bands. And honestly, if you are foam rolling your IT bands, you're probably not getting any change in length whatsoever. It's gonna hurt like hell. I don't care who you are, you're gonna foam roll your IT bands and it's gonna hurt. There's no need to. But what I will say is, if you can work on the lateral quad, which is right near the IT band, that's a fantastic place to start. And obviously, kind of on the outside part of the hamstring. But guys, just hammering the IT band, for days and days is not going to make a huge change. It's going to hurt like hell. Now listen, for some people it does make a difference. If it makes a difference for you, hey, you're an adult. You can do what you want. But I don't really like to potentially hammer that. It hurts all the time, and there's no need for me to hammer myself. So again, I'll work on the lateral quad and find those different areas on the lateral quad, but I'm not necessarily, hammering the IT band. So again, I'll kind of hit both sides. The next one, one of my favorite sort of foam rolling things to hit, one of my favorite trigger points, if you will, is the quad. Now, obviously, it's called the quad because there's 4 components, but just think of inside, outside, and then 2 in the middle. Guys, there's some nasty quads, whether it's in the VMO, the medial part, or some stuff right in the center of that rec fem that can refer pain upwards or downwards, right? I've seen several cases where people have got discomfort and tightness in their kneecap, and a lot of the times it's based off of a trigger point in the rec fem, right? So this is the sneaky one. Oftentimes, I'm not saying all the time, but a lot of the times knee discomfort and knee tightness, if you will, can actually come from a trigger point up higher in the quad. So spend some time on that. And again, we can learn how to regulate pressure, guys. So look, I go belly down in this position, and I'll kind of show you from here. Look, I'm using my hands and my opposite leg to help regulate pressure on the quad. Now, if I want to take less off, I'll put my foot in and I'll use less pressure. If I want to really be aggressive, I will take the pressure off. So guys, you can actually use your body to put as much pressure into that tissue as you'd like. Just remember, you shouldn't be holding your breath, you shouldn't be turning purple, and your heart rate shouldn't be at 180 when you're starting to address your soft tissue. So the next thing I'll do is, once we kind of address the hips, we've hit the basics. Guys, there's a bazillion different trigger points that you can hit, okay? And honestly, if you just grab if you go see someone that knows what they're talking about, you can grab a tennis ball, pick up that the trigger point therapy workbook. There's so many spots you can hit, okay? Next thing is we're gonna work on sort of the back. Now guys, don't foam roll your lumbar spine, okay? It's not recommended, okay? Sure, there's some people that'll give you all these mobs for the QL and stuff like that, but that's a pretty sensitive area, and honestly, I actually don't prescribe any low back foam rolling to any of my clients. So we're gonna start right at the mid back. T-spine, kind of rhomboids. Here's the trick here, guys. We wanna get your scapula out of the way so we can work those rhomboids. So what I tell people is, think about touching your elbows together in front of your chin. That's one way to do it, or you can do the same thing by supporting your neck. It's really up to you. Elbows together, get that, get those scapula out of the way so we can really work on that musculature. And we're here, boom. And we're just gonna kind of work up and down, okay? Now, another thing is, don't roll out your cervical spine. There's a lot of stuff going on up there, and listen, if you start foam rolling your cervical spine, and then all of a sudden you're going to start foam rolling, I don't know, your face, and then next thing you know, you're just foam rolling everything. So stick to the big areas, guys, and if you do have specific issues that need to be addressed, find a clinician. So again, I'll change my angles. I'll work on one side to try to get on that medial border of the scapula and go from there. Again, play around, and guys, it's a skill. Like, foam rolling's a skill. You have to spend a little bit of time on it to figure out the areas that you need, but use it as like a checklist, right? Use it as like a little check-in with your body. Let's say you're traveling and you're stuck on planes and you're stuck in hotels, and it's Monday morning and you're trying to do a tough workout. Now, hop on that foam roller and spend some time kind of unlocking that tissue a little bit. My next favorite, the lat. Now this is one that, again, is a little uncomfortable. Now guys, I don't want you to go high up into the armpit. I just want you to go a little bit lower onto the lat. The hand's gonna go behind the head, and we're just gonna do small little rolls. And again, sure, can you change angles and stuff? Yes, but again, you just have to pay attention to what's going on. You can rotate forward a little bit, you can rotate back, whatever works for you, but a very, very simple way to address that. And I like to hit those for the upper body, but there's a bazillion different ways you can do it, right? You can get the tiger tails, you can work your biceps, you can work your tris, you can work all the stuff in your forearms. Guys, there's a bazillion different ways to do that, but here's what I recommend. Just hop on a foam roller, get some basic understanding of anatomy, and just mess around with it a little bit. Don't move into too much pain, and just spend some time moving around and actually learning how to kind of roll back and forth without looking like a crazy person. But I think we had a comment. That might have been someone. Yep. Boom. Very cool. So yeah, Dan, you're just saying that you been using the trigger point roller. Yeah, those are great. Honestly, I do like those as well. But guys, just remember, nothing beats the hands of a skilled clinician. So find someone that you can go in and they can do a little assessment on you and go from there. And again, never move into pain. Yeah, it's going to be a little uncomfortable. That's perfectly fine. But you never want to move into pain and get to the point, again, where you're holding your breath, etc. If I could only have one roller, which one would I use? Honestly, I would probably say the AccuMobility one, just to be honest with you, because once you know how to foam roll and you understand how to use it, you can actually get more out of the AccuMobility one than you can on the others, because it's got different grooves and angles, and part of the roller is actually a little bit more dense. So this guy right here, Dan, this is AccuMobility. You can just go to AccuMobility.com. They're a bunch of great guys that run the company too. They're actually based out of Massachusetts. But yeah, that'd be the one. But guys, just play around with it, okay? Be smart, never move into pain, and go from there. Look, shout out to the AccuMobility roller. Use a coupon, mobility, for 10% off. Look at that. Boom. Thanks for doing that. But honestly, guys, this is an awesome product. I'm not trying to turn it into an AccuMobility commercial here, but they do make some good stuff, and they've got some really other unique tools as well. But honestly, best place to get any type of foam roller, performbetter.com. Honestly, those guys are the best. They'll take care of you, and we'll go from there. So, guys, as always, appreciate your time. If you like this video, give us a like and share away. Appreciate it, guys.